If you want to support Right Side Rising and fuel this movement, you can chip in through my Cash App. The link's right in the episode description below. Every bit helps us keep getting new equipment and grow the podcast even bigger. All donations are greatly appreciated. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Right Side Rising. So today we're going to be joined by Lily Farrow, a teen content creator on Instagram, and she was just doxxed actually. So we're going to be going over some of the details of what doxing is and the emotional human aspect about doxing too, because truly we are all human here and we are not just influencers online. So we're going to be hitting all the topics and answering all the questions you need answered about this topic. So let's get started. Hi Lily, thanks for joining us.
Hi, thank you for having me
Of
again.
course. Of course, yeah. So, obviously, we'll just start off with the basics. Like, for people who don't know, what is doxing?
So, doxing is basically where somebody takes information about you, like your address, your phone number, email, school, like what personal information that's not out online. They find it and then they put it out online. Normally, it's in large amounts, comments, DMs, it's all over. It happens quickly, I would say, and in just such a large scale that it's hard to control. Um, it's kind of like I've had people compare it to blackmail before. I really wouldn't say it's like blackmail because blackmail is like holding it against you. It's doxing is more just throwing everything out there.
So, why do you think doxing has become more common in, like, disagreements and just online in general?
I think in our political climate, we see a lot just of hate for one another. Doxing became pretty big, I would say, when social media kind of took off. Obviously, everything is out on social media. It's easy for someone to have like 17 accounts to just disappear to find information. I would say it became a huge problem after Charlie's death. I've seen a lot more of it after Charlie's death. I really think the political climate of our country just took a 180 after his assassination. I've seen multiple people I know, content creators, conservative content creators, be doxxed online. I just had a girl reach out to me last night in fear that she was being doxxed by a close friend of hers. The day after I was doxxed, I think the day after we did the first interview, another one of my friends was doxxed online. Two more were doxxed last week, I believe. It's just gotten to the point where it's insane because it's so easy to do. Everything is out on social media. Like literally everything about you, you can find it. I found very easily, I Google searched my parents' names and immediately names, who they voted for, where they've lived since I was born, before I was born, where their parents lived. Everything's just out there somewhere. It's it's a real big problem, I would say.
Do you think it's going to become more, like, prevalent in the future more than it already is right now?
I think so. I was on a call with a friend, and I'm not going to say who, obviously, for just privacy reasons. This friend of mine took a photo of someone's front porch and they uploaded it into AI, and AI within 2 minutes found this person's address, which scares me because, as we know, AI is progressing at such a rate that it's insane. And as we develop more tools and social media becomes more of a problem, I think it's just going to become a big problem. I think eventually everyone will just end up being doxxed because it's all just going to be out there. We have AI models that can literally find your address, which is freaky if you think about it.
Yeah. So, obviously, doxing is, like, kind of becoming more common now. What are some misconceptions that people have about doxing?
I It's a tricky that's a tricky question. There's like severities of doxing, I would say. Obviously like address, phone numbers, personal information, schools. I'd say most of that is very personal. I had somebody reach out in fear that they were being doxed, and it was somebody like revealing a name or something, like a last name. Maybe it was a first name, I'm not sure. Which I would say is a misconception about doxing. Like, obviously, if your name isn't out there, then that's could be a problem. But I'd say there's different severities of it. I think a lot of people, when they hear that I was doxxed, they assume there's like people showing up. I'm being harassed in person. I'm being like threatened, all these things. There's police everywhere. There's legal action, everything. I'd say it wasn't like that. When I was doxxed, it was just some trolls in my comment section mostly for the most part. Obviously, there's been people that have showed up to my house, but that's more on a personal level. Those are people that go to my school that I know that have connections to other things that aren't necessarily related to the doxing, I would say, which I just figured out a few minutes ago, actually. So I would say there's a big misconception because, like you said, the first question obviously was people don't know what doxing is. So I'd say there's misconceptions around that, and I do think continuing, we need to start educating people more because it's becoming more common. So it's obviously just education of the public.
Yeah, so you said you had a friend reach out to you in fear that they were being doxxed. Are there any like warning signs that you get when you're about to be doxxed or kind of go into that?
For me, there wasn't. It just started because obviously we're both conservative creators. The death threats, the hate comments, they're just, it comes with the job. When I was doxxed, it just started. Like, there was no warning, no nothing. I didn't have any drama at school going on. It just happened. There was one person in my DMs, they had my address. I was like, "What the heck?" And then by next morning, it exploded. There was accounts everywhere with my address, 500 comments flying in. I was DMs. People were being called, and my phone number was leaked, and I'm being called hundreds of times. I'm getting thousands of text messages. My email is leaked. I'm being bombarded with emails. My school is leaked. There's people showing up at my house. I wouldn't say there's really any warning signs. I've had people cautious because of something that their friends have commented. There's been suspicious comments, and I guess those could be warning signs to someone who's like actively trying to dox you. But I would say the actual doxing, there's not many warning signs. It just kind of explodes.
Yeah, you had people calling your phone number?
Yeah. So
Wow.
after my address was leaked, my phone number was leaked, which, just the natural progression of it, I guess. I had thousands, if not more, phone calls. Just, I'm guessing bot callers just coming in, and it became a problem. But obviously, there's restrictions on iPhones. There's certain settings you can turn on to like filter out robocalls, filter out just random messages. Right now, I have my messages set to where only people I add to contacts can text me. The rest just go into like a junk folder that occasionally like I'll scroll through, but I just don't look at it.
Yeah. Well, emotionally, how has that been for you? I mean, that's got to be scary getting phone calls from people you don't even know.
The first night I was doxxed, it was 10 o'clock. And I don't know if I can like swear on here, like what the thing about profanity is, but the comment I got was extremely disturbing. It was like a threat against my life and some other bad things revolving Charlie Kirk and some other gross nonsense. And I've gotten those comments before, but it wasn't until someone sent my address that it was like very real all of a sudden. I was like, "Oh, this person has my address. This person probably knows who I am. This person is probably somebody I know." Which it's scared me beyond belief because obviously this is somebody I know. This person has my address. It's no longer just an empty threat online. This is real. And as it grew, I obviously figured out they were just people that I knew in person that I don't think would do anything, but that first initial threat was very real.
Yeah. What was the hardest part of this whole incident, like emotionally? What was the hardest part about it? Was it knowing that anybody could show up to your house and people calling your phone number that you don't even know? Or was it like just the fact that somebody would do this to somebody? I mean, what was the hardest part for you?
The hardest part I would say you definitely feel alone in it. Like obviously I had hundreds of people reach out offering support and stuff, but nobody really understands. like your address, your phone number, my emails. There's people at my house, my school's leaked. All of this just explodes. I had 400 Instagram followers when I was doxxed. I didn't have the connections to people that I have now. And obviously, I met a lot of people through the doxing, but I haven't met people who have been doxxed to the level, and I haven't really met people who have been doxxed before. Obviously, it's common, but it's not super common, I would say. You definitely feel alone in it. Like, obviously, I called my friends and I called one of my closer friends who gave me contacts to reach out to. But other than that, that was about it. And I just had to figure out the rest on my own, which is pretty scary because I'm 17. I don't know what I'm doing. Um, but I'd say it's just, you feel alone, you feel kind of overwhelmed. It's definitely overwhelming to wake up and there's 500 plus comments of your address and then your phone number, and I'm sitting in school and my phone is just one call after another. I decline one and then another one just comes immediately through. It's like you don't know what to do. Like I had no clue what to do, where to start even to try and fix this problem. And it wasn't until like I had started doing research, me and Google over here fixed my doxing problem. Um, but it's just you feel alone mostly, I just say.
So you had 400 followers when you got doxxed, if I'm not mistaken. Is that what you said?
Yeah, 400.
That's like that's shocking. Like honestly, that's really shocking. Have you ever like over the course of this like journey, if you will, that you've had, have you ever thought why me? I mean, why me? Somebody who had 400 Instagram followers at the time of your doxing. Have you ever thought why me and not these other people who have more influence than me? I mean, you have to think that at some point, right?
Oh, 100%. Like, obviously, 400 followers on social media is nothing. It's an insignificant amount of numbers. Um, you definitely think about it. I know people who have a bigger following now. People like Taylor Sharp, 80,000 followers. He's never been doxxed to quite this level. I do believe he told me he's had somebody threaten to leak his address like once, but that's about it. And you start to think like, I have 400 followers. He has 80,000. He has more pull. He's goes to events. He does all these things. Like, why me, not him? And obviously, I don't want it to happen to anybody. Like, obviously,
Of
that's
course.
horrible. I would never wish that on anybody in a million years. But like, your brain just starts to like think like, why me out of all people? It's insane.
Yeah. Now, besides some of the steps you've taken, like obviously for your online safety, how has this doxing incident like changed the way you think about social media and just changed your habits on social media?
Um, the people who doxed me were people I knew in real life. So I would say that on social media, I've become very more open. Like, obviously, I've already been doxed. Like, everything's already out there. There's no reason for me to like keep everything super sheltered. I've been very open with the fact that I live in Las Vegas now, because obviously it ties back into politics more like at home. Um, but I'd say I've been a lot more careful in person than I have on social media, just because the people who did leak my information were people I knew in real life. It's the saying of like keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. I've kind of been doing that in a sense because the people who released my information were extremely close friends of mine, and I was sold out for $50, which is insane to me. Like, you're gonna put my life at risk for $50. It just shows you like the greed of people, like money hungry. Money makes the world go round, basically.
Yeah. So you said you've become more open online with like your content creation and stuff like that. Do you think that doxing can radicalize people and can change them into more open or more outspoken people than who they already were?
Oh, 100%. I think before I was doxxed, I was very careful. When I first started my content creating, I got on a call with somebody who a friend of mine now, who was more of a stranger then, more of like a mentor. The first thing he told me was that this is gonna suck, you're gonna hate it, eventually you're gonna get doxxed, eventually it's gonna happen. And I was like, "Yeah, sure, okay, like, whatever, I have 20 followers right now, I'm not getting doxxed." 400 followers later, I'm doxxed. And it kind of radicalized me in a way, I would say. I'm no longer afraid to say what I want to say. Obviously, I've been posting a lot more on threads. It gains like ratios of 18 likes to 81 just straight hate comments. Um, I obviously am open about where I live, what I do. I I really don't care anymore. I mean, there's no reason for me to be safe. Like everything is out there. Within 5 minutes, I'm sure everyone could have all of my information, and it doesn't really matter to me anymore.
Don't just listen, rise with us. Screenshot this episode, share it to your story, and tag me. That's at Right Side Rising on Instagram. Let's show the world that young conservatives aren't backing down and that we are going to fuel America's comeback. Yeah, so you said you've had a lot of support and you've made some connections over this journey. How has just overall this response been from other conservative creators? Have they helped you? Have they kind of turned a blind eye? How has that been?
The response from the other conservative creators, especially in this like little group we have, it's been amazing. They are all just such great people. I've been sent prayers, I've been sent like thoughts, just encouragement. If you ever want to talk, I'm here. People I didn't really know, like obviously I knew of them, but I didn't know they knew of me until I was doxxed. It was insane to me. They were posting videos, they were in support, they just wanted to help it any way they could. It just shows you the difference in community. Like, these are people I don't know. They don't know anything about me besides the fact that my name's Lily and I post online. That's all they know. I've never met these people, and before being doxxed, I had no prior communication to them besides maybe, like, I was in their comments on a live or something. And it just shows you how quickly people will be there for one another, especially other conservative creators and other conservative teens, I should say. It really showed me the community and the fact that we're all just connected in some way.
So, just how did you start content creation? I mean, walk us through how you started this.
This all started when Charlie Kirk was shot. The day he was shot, I'd always been a writer, but I had nothing to do with my writing. So I was sitting there and I was hearing about Charlie being shot and I was like, I want to do something. I don't know what I want to do, but I want to do something. I get on Google and I find a platform that'll let me start my own website. I was like, you know what? There's no better time. I started something called the National Revival, where teens can go write about politics and not just politics, like opinionated political pieces of just like what they think is happening in the world and stuff. This entire journey started with me ranting to like two people on this website about Charlie Kirk's death. And it eventually grew, and the National Revival grew. And it got to the point where I was like seeing Allie and I was seeing Danny and I was seeing Taylor and all these people post online. And I was like, this seems like the next logical step. So I started content creating. And the first videos I posted sucked. Obviously, like they were just horrible. Um, but you get better at it. It starts to become like comfortable now. I like to post. I know people on here. I recognize people that come back to watch my content now. We have 9 active writers, I think, on the National Revival now, from both sides of the political party, which I think is a great achievement. And I think it's just going to keep growing from here.
Yeah. So walk me through what is National Revival exactly for people who don't really know about it? I mean, walk us through that.
So the National Revival is something obviously I founded. It's right now it's pretty small. We have our own kind of website, but it runs through an app called Substack, where it's basically just a giant community of writers. And all they do is just write like opinionated pieces. The National Revival is a place where anybody, and I mean anybody, can go write. All you have to do is sign up through a form in my bio, and after that, we add you and you can write about whatever you want. We Majority of our writers, I would say, are conservative and they write about all range of topics: abortion, politics, just opinionated pieces, Christianity. We have one writer who fits in the other demographic, more democratic. She writes more about feminism, and I find it funny actually. They kind of connect. I want people to be able to see both sides and the fact that we can find common ground in it. That's kind of why I started it. And I like watching these people kind of connect because obviously there's been a connection. And I started it mainly for that because I wanted everyone to just kind of get along in a sense. And I got tired of adults telling me that as a teenager I shouldn't be in politics. And I got tired of adults telling me like to shut up, basically. I didn't think that teens had a place to go to write about this because obviously teenagers aren't taken very seriously in the world of politics. So it's kind of why I started that. And I hope to just, turn it into a big thing someday where anybody can go write. Yeah.
Yeah. So, taking a turn here, what advice would you give to other online creators who experience a similar incident as yours? I mean, it's certainly scary, and you said it's very alone. What piece of advice would that be?
My advice would definitely be what that first mentor told me, I would say. It sucks. Politics absolutely suck. The people in this field, they're brutal. And you're going to learn very quickly just how brutal people are. Obviously, the death threats, the assault threats, they never stop. Being doxxed did nothing but good for me, I would say. And some people would say, like, that's insane. Why would you say that? But seriously, I've made connections, I've made friends, I've obviously my platform has grown from this. Um, I would say it's scary, but you're not alone. I would say I don't want people to feel like they're alone. I It would be ideal for other people who are being doxxed to be able to reach out to other people that have been doxxed. Yeah, obviously, it's I would want to help people, and I have. I've had people reach out to me who are being doxxed, and I'd say that if my story is the story that starts this, then sure. I want the community, I want people to feel like they have somebody. And if you are being doxxed, it's not the end of the world. And if you had told me that a week ago, the night that I was being doxxed and I was sitting on the phone with 5 people on FaceTime, like having a mini panic attack because somebody has my address now, I would have told you to probably shut up, like you're crazy, don't say that. But it's not the end of the world. Like I swear that to you. It'll be okay. You just gotta get through it. You just gotta be stronger than the people that are trying to bring you down because that's all it is. They're just bullies online. And even if it is in person, like obviously I've had people show up at my house, but you just gotta be the bigger person, I would say. Just be strong. You're gonna get through it. It's gonna be okay. And that might sound insane now, but it won't sound insane in 2 weeks when you've been dealing with it. So just stay strong.
Yeah. So we've talked a little bit about dealing with it and how to mentally go about being doxxed and how that feels. Is there any ways you can prevent being doxxed so you don't have to go through that, or do you think it's really not possible at this day and age?
I really don't think it's possible. I took every safety precaution when I first started my account. I never would have worn a hoodie like this. Obviously, it's more personal, and some other hoodies I have the word Henderson on them because it's where I live. Um, I started a new email. Didn't set this account up with my phone number. Set it up with a brand new email specifically made for my political stuff. I never spoke of where I lived on a live or anything, and then I was doxxed. And I was like, "Oh, so all of that was for nothing." It doesn't have to be random. Like obviously I was doxxed because somebody I knew in real life wanted that information out there for $50. And it just shows you that it doesn't matter how safe you are, something could happen. Obviously, I can't control what everybody in my life does. And if somebody feels that hatred inside them, like, oh my God, conservative teen, doxer, then I can't stop them. And I would say be safe. Obviously, like I'm not going to sit here and tell you like doesn't matter, don't be safe. I'm going to tell you to be safe, be careful. Obviously, there's plenty of people that have never been doxxed, but if you're going to start politics, look at your friend group. majority of my friend group is liberal, and I'm fine with that. Obviously, I'm okay with being with people that are on the different political side than me, and that shouldn't affect your friendships at all, except if you want to start doing political content. I would say people that I considered very close to me, who we don't talk about politics at all, we've never had political conversations. As soon as they found out that I was a conservative creator, all that friendship went straight out the door. Being safe is the first step. Figuring out your circle and keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. Second step to just staying safe while doing it.
So, would you say that doxing and just political hate in general is more common for conservative creators to experience rather than liberal ones, or is that kind of universal for just getting into politics?
Obviously, I'm not going to say like, oh, liberals are just so hateful. Like, that's wrong. Um, I've had conversations with people, friends of mine, not conservative, liberal content creators on here, friends of mine. I love them. They're great people. We disagree politically, but that's about the only thing we disagree on. We've had conversations about the same comments. They get the same comments. They get the same death threats, the assault threats, like I hate you so much. Why would you think this? They all of us get the same comments. We're in the same boat. We're all just trying to speak our mind politically. We're just trying to educate. And just because we disagree politically doesn't mean that we still can't be there for each other, which again, bridging the gap between the politics. These people, they're not much different than us. And I would say there's definitely hatred in this community for one another. But if we could bridge that gap as we're all just teens, we're all content creators, then I think we'd be in a much better space and I think we'd all benefit from it.
Yeah. So how exactly could we bridge that gap? I mean, there's probably about a million ways that I could think of right now that we could try bridging the gap just in general between any type of disagreements, but politically, what is the best way or what are some of the best ways to go about bridging that gap? Because obviously that gap is so wide.
Right. Looking back towards more when my parents were younger, like grandparents were younger too, you you could hate somebody for their political beliefs. Obviously, like that's wrong, but you could, and you just wouldn't do anything about it. Like, it was just common to just, like, not talk about politics or just not talk about that. And I'm not gonna say, "Let's stop talking about politics." It's literally, like, what I do. Talking about politics is, like, kinda my job. But I would say if we're gonna continue to talk about politics, we need to find some sort of, like, just mutual understanding of, "Hey, I don't like your politics, but that doesn't mean I hate you as a person, that I want you dead." And, obviously, I don't wanna, like, accuse, because obviously it's just radicals on both sides. The radicals on both sides of the political spectrum, it's just hate and violence and nothing more. And I think if you cut out the radicals, the middle ground, there is a middle ground between, like, the conservatives and the Democrats. There's more of a common space and an understanding. So if we could just eliminate the radicals, which hard, obviously, to do, I think we would just naturally find an understanding, which it's hard to do, and I wouldn't really know where to start with that. Obviously, the National Revival, it's kind of my way of trying to bridge the gap, but obviously it's a small program I run still. So I just think if we all worked together, eventually it would grow and we'd get there.
Yeah. So do you think open dialogue and, talking more about politics and sort of kind of not like bringing that into your like daily life, but making it a priority for you to always bridge the gap with, you and opposite people with the opposite beliefs as you. Do you think if we continue doing open dialogue, do you think that would be more beneficial than just not talking about politics at all, or how would you go about that?
I think it depends on the circumstance. Obviously, open dialogue is a good thing, but I also think just not talking about it is also a good thing. Uh, like I said before, majority of my friends in school, because I do attend a public school, are liberal. I live in a very liberal state. I live in a very liberal city, very liberal part of town. We just don't talk about politics, and I think that's a very professional thing to start doing in settings like a job or school to just that's for later. It's for outside, just deal with it later. And open dialogue, obviously, if people are willing to talk with you about it and just be respectful about it, I don't see why not. If you can't have a friendly disagreement, are you really friends? It's just circumstantial, I think, because obviously I don't go to work and just like, who wants to debate me? Um, it's just more time and place. Obviously, open dialogue has its time and its place, and it's very powerful, but it's just like circumstance.
Great. So, thank you, Lily, for joining us. I really appreciated you for taking the time and making time to do a second interview. So,
Second
certainly, I
interview.
really appreciate that. And you're always welcome here on the show again. So, I just thank you so much for this interview.
Of course. Thank you for having me. It's been great both times.